Wow, Senator Bernie Sanders and Congresswoman AOC leading a massive rally. You saw the crowd there in Las Vegas, Nevada. The crowd size there bigger than any of the crowd sizes we saw in Las Vegas during the presidential campaign. As one of Bernie's advisors, Anna Barr, explains, the last time Donald Trump was in Vegas, January 2025, he pulled a crowd of 2,000. When Bernie was running for president in 2019, our biggest Vegas crowd was 2,200. Today, more than 3,200 people turned out to hear Senator Bernie Sanders and AOC. You can take a look at the line right there as well. There were so many people there. Senator Bernie Sanders writes, "Thank you to everyone who came out to our town hall in Las Vegas for the Fight the Oligarchy tour. Today was the largest turnout we have ever had for an event in Vegas. More than 3,200 people joined us. Now on to Tempe, Arizona for a rally tonight. I hope to see you there." Let me show you some of the highlights now from this Fight the Oligarchy rally. Here, AOC talks about how, Alina Habba, one of Donald Trump's top advisors, was mocking her that she worked in a bar. And AOC says they just hate working class people. Play this clip.
For all the big talk that Republicans and the Trump administration like to flap about working people, if you actually listen carefully, every once in a while they let the mask slip about what they actually think about us. Just last week, President Trump's lawyer, her name is Alina Habba, she went on television, and when she actually had to be faced with explaining her job, and when she actually had to be faced with doing her job, this is what she had to say. Quote, "What intellectual thought?" When she was asked about me. Quote, "What intellectual thought? You were in a bar. You were in a bar, AOC, and not to have a drink, but to serve one." And I want you all to understand, I don't care what this woman says about me, but But I want you to understand that she isn't just talking about me here. She's talking about you. She's talking about all of us. Because the entire job of the president's lawyer is to speak for him. Trump hired her to speak for him. So imagine what it means for our country that the president's own lawyer cannot even conceive of a working class person being intelligent simply because of the job that they have. This woman could not even recognize the American dream if it was fed to her on a silver spoon. But understand that this kind of disdain for working people by the most powerful people in this country doesn't just come from not being raised right. It's a shorthand for Elon Musk and Donald Trump's entire political agenda and a certain ugly kind of politics, lying to and screwing over working people so that they can steal from our health care and Social Security and veterans care to pay for tax cuts for the wealthiest and bailouts for their crypto billionaire friends. There's a word for this: corruption.
Now here is another clip of AOC right here when she goes, "When they call us radical, do you know what they really mean?" Play the clip.
So let me share with you exactly what I mean. Because when they like to call us radical, and what they like to call me as radical, I believe is common sense. I believe that when a person gets sick, they shouldn't go bankrupt in the wealthiest country in the history of the world. Common sense. I believe that a minimum wage should cover the minimum cost to live. Common sense. And by the way, we should see that not paying a living wage is also a form of corporate welfare and looting. Because big companies like Walmart and Amazon often rely on the food stamp program and public coffers to cover the wages that they won't pay. I believe that homes are not slot machines for investors and Wall Street to extort working families out of every last dollar that they have. A home is sacred. And when your landlord jacks up your rent by half overnight, or housing prices skyrocket because Wall Street treats our housing market like a casino, your government should fight for your ability to keep an affordable roof over your head. And finally, I believe our elected officials should take on abuses of corporate greed everywhere they find it. We must get big money out of politics and make clear that our country is not for sale. And that is why I don't and never will take money from lobbyists and corporations.
Here AOC is again. Let's play the clip.
You know, Fox News and the right wing will have you believe that these American values are something out of the Communist Manifesto. That we believe these things because we went to college and read them in a book somewhere. But let me tell you, Fox News, I don't believe these things. I don't believe in healthcare, labor, and human dignity because I'm a Marxist. I believe it because I was a waitress. Because I scrubbed toilets with my mom to go to school. Because I've worked double shifts to keep the lights on. And because on my worst day, I know what it feels like to feel left behind. And I know that we don't have to live like this anymore, Las Vegas. We deserve better than this, Las Vegas.
Now, after AOC gave that incredibly powerful speech, Senator Bernie Sanders was up. Let me show you some of the highlights of his speech. Here's one of the more powerful clips at the beginning of his speech. Let's play it.
Today, we are here to say very loudly and clearly, no, we will not accept an oligarchic form of society where a handful of billionaires run the government. No, we will not accept an authoritarian form of society with a president who undermines the Constitution every day and is working aggressively to take away our freedom of speech and freedom of assembly. No, we will not accept a society of massive economic inequalities where the very rich are becoming much richer while working families across the country struggle to put food on the table. What we're saying today as clearly as we can, that in the richest country in the history of the world, we demand and will achieve an economy and a government that works for all of us, not just the workers.
Here, Senator Bernie Sanders is again talking about the tax cut scam for the billionaires by Trump and his oligarchs. Play this clip.
And in order to get those tax breaks, they want to cut Medicaid by $880 billion. They want to destroy our Social Security system. At a time when 22% of seniors are trying to get by on $15,000 a year or less. What they are trying to do is to discredit Social Security, lie about Social Security. Some of you heard Trump say, oh, all these people, 150, 200 years of age getting Social Security. Total absolute lie. Well over 99% of the people in this country who get those Social Security checks paid for those checks. You got any veterans here today? Thank you, veterans. Musk and Trump are going after the VA. They want to lay off over 80,000 employees at the Veterans Administration. That will result in lower quality health care and delays in veterans getting the benefits to which they are entitled. Trump and Musk, right now, today, they're trying to dismantle the Department of Education. That means public schools in working class areas could lose money. It means that people on Pell Grants are going to have a harder time getting those grants. And it means that kids with disabilities who are now getting the support they need may lose that support. The way you destroy the government is by laying off hundreds of thousands of employees, and that is precisely what they're doing right now. And I want you all to think about this for a moment. I know we all feel badly for those federal employees, people who have worked for the government for years, devoted their lives to public service, and you can have Musk coming along and say, oh, we've determined your performance is poor, you're out of here, goodbye. Now, I know a lot of people feel sympathy for those employees, but I want you to think about something. If Musk and his friends can treat federal employees like that, you worked here 20 years, you're out of here. Goodbye. What do you think that they will be doing to workers in the private sector when artificial intelligence comes to take your job? Now, technology in itself is not a bad thing if it works for working people, not just the people on top.
And then finally, here's how Senator Sanders ended his incredible speech in Las Vegas. Let's play it.
I know that there are a lot of people here in Las Vegas and around the country who are feeling despair and anxiety about what's happening in D.C. And some of you may feel a little bit hopeless. So let me say this. At this particular moment, this pivotal moment in American history, despair is not an option. Giving up is not acceptable, and none of us have the privilege of hiding under the covers. The stakes are just too hard. And let us never forget, real change only occurs when ordinary people at the grassroots level stand up against oppression and injustice and fight back. That is the history of our country from way back when. When this country was first formed, you have people here who took on the most powerful person in the world, the King of England, and the entire British Empire. And you know what? They won. In the 1840s, you had people in the abolitionist movement standing up and saying, slavery is not acceptable, it's horrendous, it's horrific. They had to take on the great power of the slave owners. And we fought a war where hundreds of thousands of people died. But we won. Slavery was abolished. In the early part of our century, workers who were overworked and underpaid demanded to form unions. Some of them were killed, they were fired, they were beaten. But they stood up for the trade union movement, and they won and helped create the American middle class. In the 1930s, we had a depression. 25% of America was unemployed. But people stood up, elected a great president, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, transformed the government, and we managed to end the depression. In 1941, country was attacked at Pearl Harbor. Our military was weak. We had to fight a war on two fronts. Yet, because the nation came together and we produced the planes, the guns, the tanks that we needed in 2.5 years, that war was essentially won. So what I am saying to you is that this is not the first time we have faced crises. And what I believe from the bottom of my heart is the American people do not want to see a handful of billionaires running this country. The American people understand that in democracy, we criticize each other, we have free elections, and we're not, like Donald Trump, too cowardly to accept criticism. American people do not want to move us toward an authoritarian society. The American people understand that there's something very wrong today when so few have so much and so many have so little. So my view is that while I am not a mathematician, I do know that 99% is a hell of a lot bigger number than 1%. I believe from the bottom of my heart, if we do not let Trump and his friends divide us up by the color of our skin, or where we were born, or our religion, or our sexual orientation, if we stand together as one people, fighting for justice, there is nothing that we cannot do. Trust me, I work in Washington, and I know the power of the oligarchs. They are very powerful. But if we stand together, I have zero doubt that we can and will defeat them, that we can transform the economics and politics of this country, and that we can have an economy and a government that works for all of us, not just the 1%. Thank you all.
There you have it, folks. It is an honor to be able to cover these events. We will continue to cover the Fight the Oligarchy tour by Senator Sanders with AOC and others. This is how you fight for the people. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.